Emma and I want to tell you how good we feel because we just divested ourselves of the last of our bank stocks. That was B of A, and we're going to take a big bath on the sale price. But now I don't feel yucky about holding it and supporting those scumbags. You know, with that in mind, I wanted to comment on the 60 Minutes piece, The Next Housing Shock, which I think was a great first step, highlighting what, in my opinion, is the criminality that B of A, Wells Fargo, Citi, Chase, and the others imposed on American citizens. Nonetheless, it inadvertently left the mistaken impression that there's some confusion about who actually owns these homes. The reality is that in many instances the bank was not the lender. They did not have a single penny in the deal, and thus they have no right whatsoever to claim ownership in foreclosure. The bank was nothing more than a crooked intermediary who tried to set up a scam and take everything. The money, the property, the profits from the default swaps, the insurance, and the government bailouts, but then they got caught in their own trap. They would have and should have gone bankrupt and down the road and closed their doors, but thanks to Bush and Obama, they are undead. But unlike vampires, they not only suck our blood, but our tax dollars. The first rule of investment is diversification, and we have done exactly the opposite. We have let hundreds of small banks go under while making banks that were already called too big to fail into an uncontested monopoly. These banks want you to believe that the securitizers actually have some right to foreclose on those homes. 60 Minutes unintentionally carried the message from Wall Street that we don't know who owns these homes and that this is a clerical error that can be corrected. But if that was true, the banks would not be hiring rooms full of bums off the street who they pay $9 an hour to sit there all day forging the names of a bank vice president and paying crooked notaries to authenticate their signatures. You understand that the only role a notary plays is to authenticate a signature. The answer to who really owns these homes is as simple as Property Law 101. It is the borrower, who, by the way, is now known by his or her new title, the homeowner. The fact that the securitizers intentionally or unintentionally screwed up the paperwork should not be the homeowner's problem. Federal and state law require that the lender be clearly identified on the loan documents, and in this case, the bank simply lied, falsely and I believe intentionally identifying themselves as the lender when they were not. The loan docs offered by banks in foreclosures document a fictitious trail in which no money ever changed hands because the bank, in fact, did not provide the borrower with a red cent. These documents were excluded intentionally to hide the paper trail and to conceal the fact that they were funneling money directly from swindled investors to swindled homeowners, and again, were nothing more than crooked brokers. The homeowner, without consent or knowledge, was converted from a borrower to the issuer of a security, and the investor, who was also conned by the bank, was converted from being part of a valid mortgage pool to being the buyer of the security issued by the homeowner. What this means under the law is that the homeowner has the right of rescission and the right to damages that arise both from the Truth in Lending Act and from SEC rules and regulations. The banks were busy forging documents that they intentionally concealed because they know they cannot prevail in a court of law without them. They need the cooperation of the borrowers, who they are now going to beg for a signature, because that signature will make their initial filing of the mortgage legal. And that's why Sheila Bair is proposing a slush fund to bribe the borrowers to come back to the table and sign what is not in their own best interest. Know your rights and stand up to these criminal conspiracies we call banks. Let them know we've had it up to here. Just remember that when the bank offers you chunk change in exchange for your signature, that signature will indemnify all the bank's illegal, immoral, and unconscionable ripoffs. So unless you sign, they've got nothing. It's time for you to stand up and fight back. Don't sign a damn thing, because without your signature, they've got nothing. Right, Emma?